Welcome back to my channel. This is Jerry. So I just finished watching with my family. I have a 4-year-old daughter, watching the classic movie Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. So I decided I want to go ahead and do an off the top of my head quick retrospective review on Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. So it says starring Rick Moranis, but it really isn't. It's very much an ensemble. He's one of many, and if it stars anybody, it stars the kids. And like I said, I'm doing this right after watching the movie off the top of my head, so I don't have the names of them. But really, the young boy, Nicky, is the only one that I really recognize from anything else. And then the other young little brother I do as well. So, but you recognize people, but you can't place them. It's that kind of a thing. It's the movie was made in 1989, so it's in that time frame. It was done really before computer effects were a big thing. A lot of it was practical effects. So watching it retrospectively, you can kind of appreciate that, especially someone who is into film like I am, who kind of knows a little bit more about the background, knows how they made the practical effects, has actually made some things like that before when I was in school. It's really neat to see all that, and how they had to make these things to scale and how much work was involved with it. And for really, kind of a crazy idea. It's a very silly, odd movie, and there's so many things looking at it now that I'm like, that just doesn't make sense. Like they find this giant like Hostess oatmeal and cream cake that the kid was eating in the morning with breakfast, and they found some outside, and so they're like ravenously eating this, and you're like, wait a minute, hasn't it only been like a couple of hours at the most? Like they started it, this is the same day. It's not like they've been going for like a couple of days and haven't eaten anything. This is like the same day. So you kind of got to go with that. And also the one kid calculates how far it is for him to go from one end of the yard to the other. And like, oh, it's going to be like 3.5 miles. It's going to take us forever. I'm like, 3.5 miles? That's nothing. That's not very far to be walking. People like walk miles a day. I was like, oh, I get up in the morning and I walk 5 miles every morning before work. So 3 miles, you're like, that's not that far, that's not that bad. Though later the father, Moranis' character, does say that it's more like 10 miles for them, which that does take a while, so that I can kind of understand. But anyway, there's little things like that. There's some things that kind of real like that doesn't really make a lot of sense. Also, when they fight the scorpion, that you're like, what's a scorpion doing in a suburban backyard? Like, is that a thing? I know that I'm born and bred in South Florida, and we have our animals. We have our snakes. I could see a snake coming through there. That's obvious. That's no problem. I've seen snakes in my backyard a few times. But like a scorpion? I don't know. That was a little hard. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. But anyway, retroactively watching it, knowing that they had that almost everything, except for really when the laser beam is shooting, everything else is practical effects. So when they had, the kids had to jump over a nail, someone had to make a giant nail. And, the blades of grass, they're like walking through there, and although those gigantic blades of grass had to be made. And so there's a lot of like work done in those movies back then. And for a gamble movie, for like a silly gamble movie, now I know reading the Wikipedia, it ended up making a ton of money. It was hugely successful. It had 2 sequels to it. It had, had Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Honey, I Blew Up the Kids, and Honey, I Shrunk Ourselves, I think is the title of it. But so they had those 3. Plus, they had a TV series spinoff too, which I thought there was, but I couldn't exactly remember it, so I did look that up. But yeah, they had a TV series too. So it's spanned quite. Oh, and the amusement park stuff, and I think it was Universal. I don't know if Disney owned it all along or if it's a Disney acquisition, but there was amusement park attractions for it as well, in either Universal or Disney, one of those guys. I remember actually going to the parks and seeing that attraction and being how cool it was. Having those scale things, and you could see and there were actual props, I believe, from the movie. So that was really cool, especially as a kid who was in the film and everything. So now, as far as my daughter, she's 4, like I'd said. So we were thinking, oh yeah, she'd be a good age for this. She could really get into it. And it may have been a little hard for her. She during the exciting parts, she was sitting there and watching it. but as soon as the popcorn ran out, she was wiggling around, moving around, all that stuff. So she really it didn't hold her attention as much as we kind of hoped. She did still like it, she did still watch it, she said she liked it, so that's what's important. But it was a fun revisit to watch it, and then it has all those suggested movies after you watch something like that, and so it was cool to see all the suggested, late 80s, early 90s movies that it brings up. 3 Men and a Baby, Flubber with Robin Williams, all those other movies of that time. So it was very cool to see, even just flipping through that and seeing the different options. But anyway, I kind of get off topic. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, you really have to think of it as watching something from 1989 and say, okay, they didn't have the same kind of, the audience, it's a different kind of audience back then. So you have to kind of look the other way when they have some of these like hard to believe things, like the scorpion, like the kids being ravenously hungry, like it taking basically 24 hours to cross the lawn, all those things. Also, when the kid comes with the lawnmower, that is also a little hard to believe too. It has those things, and also the Legos and the toys that they see in there. Like the perspective doesn't exactly work. Like they come into a toy dinosaur early on, and like the blades of grass are as big as the dinosaur, and you're like, but you look at the yard when they're normal size, and the grass is only a little bit overgrown. It's not a lot overgrown, only a little bit, and so you're like, how small is that toy dinosaur? It's like, but anyway. So if you look past kind of those silly things, I really found myself laughing and smiling during it because I did, nostalgia in it a bit. I liked the movie as a kid. I seen at least the first sequel of Honey, I Blew Up the Kids. I remember seeing that. I probably watched a couple of episodes of the show because I did all that. So, and the amusement park thing. So watching it, remembering it, getting some good laughs in it, seeing a couple people you recognize, kind of having to look the other, shrug off some of the silly stuff. It was good, and I think that if my daughter was a little bit older, she probably would have enjoyed it a bit more. Maybe we'll try it again in a few years. So if you have some young kids and you have the chance to watch Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, do it. You'll have fun with it. Make a big thing of popcorn. You'll all have fun. But also, I want to ask, Rick Moranis. I look kind of like Rick Moranis. Do I? No, yes, no, maybe. I don't know. Is it glasses? Am I just dorky looking? Tell me in the comments. So thank you very much. Please, thanks for watching. Please comment, like, subscribe, ring that bell, share, do everything you can to help me out. I really appreciate it. So until next time, bye.